kind of hitting the stumps.
No, when you look at it, you look at the wicket itself as well. It does, give you that sense of you don't want to get too full straight away. As you see as well, that there's a lot of them that they really missed, the stumps. A couple of them, they were there. But I think one thing that I watching Rabada and looking at him when he decided to come around, especially with the young fellow, where we all know, we've seen him on a white ball, how dangerous he was. I even said them as well on air, says I think Rabada, while he was sleeping, he actually was bowling to him. The way when he came around, and then there were so many of them that they missed, the bat. He hit a good line. I loved him and I enjoyed watching him. This is where I thought he had a massive, thinking as well. There was a couple of them that they bounced closer, to the guy with the back.
Sean, I think we've been saying for a few test matches now, certainly against Sri Lanka, and now with this start here at SuperSport Park, that he'll bowl worse and have more wickets because so many seem to just be going past the edge. What do you do in situations like this?
Yeah, 100%. You almost try and do something where you move it less, if that makes any sense, which is kind of a strange one to touch on because often as a bowler you're trying to maximize the movement through the air or off the surface because that causes the problems. But he almost did too much with it. You probably have to be prepared to be whacked through the covers every once in a while if you are trying to try and pick up wickets. But he did a good job. I mean, look at that, it's 13 runs in his 7 overs. He's just held it up brilliantly. And yeah, he'll pick up wickets. As the game goes on, there'll be times where he'll just rock up and, as you say, bowl worse deliveries and pick up a couple.
Yeah, it's a good time, I guess. You look at that, none for 13, but in the recent past, he's joined the 300 club. These gentlemen here went into it a long time ago. In fact, they're touching 400, one over and one just under. Here's Kagiso Rabada and more about him.
The mission for the sun.
Wickets for Kagiso Rabada. 200 wickets for Rabada. Cleans him up, and number 300 for Kagiso Rabada.
Now you're officially the best in the world. What does that feel like?
I think I'm not the best at celebrating milestones, and I just go back to what I know. But I'm trying to learn how to really savor the moment. But just because there's still so much more to do, like you can't really just have it there all the time. But what it does tell me is that I'm doing some good things within my process. So then it's about replicating that or trying to even be better.
What was the first thing that went through your mind when you finally broke in this landmark?
Well,
Cleans him up.
we lost a toss in the subcontinent. We're like, oh no, here we go again. Lose another toss in the subcontinent. And in the subcontinent, the toss is very key. And then we bowled them out for 100. But Vian with a great start, got quick 3. And I came on from his side, having bowled 4 overs from the side that I started. And, I wasn't quite getting my length right, so guys were leaving me quite well. And then Aiden switched me around to the other side. And the first ball I bowled, I think it was to Mushfiqur. He sort of tried to defend it. It sort of just ballooned up a bit. And then the next ball I bowled, I just bowled, just nipped back in and bowled him. And
number 300 for Kagiso Rabada joins the elite list, and what a way to pick up his 300th wicket.
In my mindset, I wasn't really thinking about 300 too much. I wasn't like really, clenching my fist to get that 300th wicket. But it was just more out of frustration that there were some plays and misses, and whatnot, and I hadn't gotten a wicket, and then it happened, and I was like, phew, that's a nice wicket to get, first of all, and also one of their best batters is out, and they were, what, 20 for 4 for 5, so it was pretty epic. You grow up learning about these bowlers, and you understand how great they were. And for me, wanting to be the best ever since I started playing, I felt like, okay, I'm actually getting there. But I just feel like it's all good and well to get that achievement, but to keep on going is really, really, really difficult. If I reflect back on all these years, all the amounts that I've bowled, oh man, it takes a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot, so hopefully this can keep happening. I think for me, the coolest message was from my teammates and how much they shared that with me. I could tell that they really enjoyed that with me, and the management really enjoyed that with me. Everyone back home, family, friends, and some guys that I played with before, other players like, AB and, Dale congratulated me, Vernon, Makaya. But for me, what meant the most were my teammates, and they were genuinely happy for me, and we're enjoying each other's success. So that ranked really up there for me, because we live together, and obviously my parents and family, but my teammates being there, that was quite special. Winning a test match feels so good. The beers taste much better. Winning a World Test Championship, man, that's going to be very sweet, because you've basically beat the entire world, and you're the #1 team in the world. So for me, that is right up there, and we believe that we can do it, especially for this team. I've taken a liking for this team, and that would be really special. Very.
Yeah, continually El Go, South Africa's superstar, and as he says, has taken a liking to the team, and he leads it pretty well. Sean Makaya, I'm not going to ask you to kind of dial back the clock again.
A little less of this going back all the time. It wasn't that long ago, was it?
Was it not? You don't think so?
Now you look at us, it was too grey or too bold.
What about these numbers, Sean? I mean, how incredible is this guy?
I mean, it is incredible. I mean, you look at wickets and averages, okay, maybe that's pretty good, very good, excellent, but it's the strike rate, 39.5, the quickest ever in the history of the game. I think he's 800 balls quicker than anyone else to get to the 300 mark. And that's what stood out. I mean, there's no doubt that South African conditions help a fast bowler. Maybe the way that some of the modern cricketers play. But still, to get the 800 ahead of anyone else, no one has averaged under 40 in order to go on and achieve that milestone of 300 is remarkable.
And the fact that, I mean, for one so young, and I'm sort of trying to think in my head when you guys would have crossed 300 and kind of then up to 390, Makaya and yourself to be leading for a long time before Dale takes over. And when you got there, what's the age, Makaya, do you feel that you were at the peak of your powers?
If I can think back as well, I remember myself, I think I had one or 2 years where I was dominating, became, taking more wickets in a year than anyone else, and then Murli was my second. So I think if I can put it the years, I would say 27, 28, that's where you matured, unless for him he started very early. We were grooving into it until we get an opportunity where you establish yourself. And I think where he is now is in a position that now we can just unleash and then become, the #1 in South Africa. But if you put those days and now where they play less test matches, and then than us, we normally play 5 test matches in a series wherever that we go, and then they are now in a position that how much more will he take him to get to 400 because I'm excited to pass me. And then I don't want to be like Paul, who was carrying the champagne for 4 years. You know.
You're talking about with Dale, right?
Yeah, with Dale to
waiting
pass
for him
it,
to
you
get
know,
past.
I want him to get there quicker, you know, so that we can rejoice together to get to pass Paulie and then Delstein. And I would say that 26, 27, that's the years where
Peak
you
of your
feel
pass,
that you are in control in everything that you do.
I think from 25 to 30 is about right too. I think you start to pick up a few niggles. I mean, as Mackie's joking about how I carried the champagne because Dale was on tour and then he got injured, and then he was out for 9 months and he was on tour and then he got injured. So we had to keep that champagne floating around. But it is, you start to get niggles, and as Mackie's point as well is that they don't play as much Test cricket. So it's probably a good thing for him from a body perspective.
Right.
Is that they don't play a lot of domestic cricket. I mean, I don't think KG plays 4-day cricket at all for the Lions these days. So all the energy, all the ability and the willpower that you've got is kind of used at the top level. And I think ideally for an athlete like he is, that's probably the ideal scenario, because you don't want to waste any of the other stuff on provincial cricket. He's too good a cricketer to be spending too much time playing domestic cricket. Get all his cricket out at the top level. And we hope he stays injury-free. I think that's the key, because you do pick up, it's wear and tear. It's wear and tear on knees and backs and everything that kind of catches up with you at the back end.
Yeah, and we don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. You've got to be that good first before you can kind of just leave the domestic circuit behind. Fastest to 100 for South Africa, and Vernon, fabulous start. Steyn as well, and then Rabada's just beneath Donald. All fantastic, as everybody is aware, fantastic fast bowlers in South Africa because of conditions. And it seems, Sean Makaya, that he's quickened up, actually, despite us thinking that he had this fantastic start. As he's gone along, he's got kind of quicker and quicker.
He has. I think he's worked it out. I think since he's become the leader, he's also taken on an extra responsibility. I mean, those guys are all strike bowlers, so that's why their strike rates are so impressive. And there's KG sitting at 39.83. It's just a level above because he's, as I said, he's been able to continually run in. And I think, as you say in the interview, he quite likes this team, and I think he's almost coming to his own as he's become the senior pro and the main guy to rely on. And I think it's actually made him perform a little bit better with that responsibility.
Do you think Pete Porter will say, what do you want to do today? Like Carlos we normally used to do.